How's it going, everybody? It's Stock Picks by Tim back at you. And check out this shirt real quick. Check it out. Pretty cool. Anyways, guys, we're gonna go over 5 stocks today, and they're definitely in buy zones for me. And I'm gonna continue to watch them all week very closely. I'm gonna be looking at Chargepoint, Indi, AMD, Bngo, and Any. And that's the one that's going to be merging with Griffin soon, Griffin Digital. But we're going to get into this. I'm going to show you the charts and why they're for me in buy zones, and just keep a close eye on them. And let's get into the video. Now, starting off with AMD, I definitely like this one if it can come down just a little bit more, but I'm definitely considering buying it where it's at now. Definitely like that. I think Lisa Su is doing a great job with AMD. I love their products, and it's a big favorite of mine in terms of chips. And looking into the chart, you see a clear support level here at about 102.90. Now that's why I'm wanting to buy it now. Maybe I'll buy it in in like quarters, I'll buy like a third or a fourth of it tomorrow and then continue throughout the week as I see deals, or maybe, buy it more heavily if it drops more, buy it a little lighter if it starts rising. Now, I definitely like it here where it's at now, but if you can try to scoop it up here conveniently, the 200-day EMA is right there at the support 102, so we could see it drop just a little bit more, hit that 200-day, and just blast off like it has in the past here. Bam, 200-day, blast it off. It doesn't do it every time. Here it went under the 200-day EMA though and started coming over it, but when it does reach a little too high over that, the EMAs, when it gets a little too too hot, too heavy, it likes to cool down and hit all of them. And that's why I think that there's a big chance that this will probably hit this. It may not, but I do like it here. And when you look at the RSI, we hit that bottom, and every time it hits that oversold territory, it typically eventually does come back to overbought before going back to oversold. So I'm looking to see it go to overbought to that 70 before it comes back down. It might go down a little bit in the short term before it does that, but definitely where it's at, I am liking this one. And as for max downside, I see could be about 96, because back here we have this resistance, very clear resistance here. We hit it one more time and then just broke past it like nobody's business. So that's why I see this as like the max downside. So in terms of max downside, you're looking at about a, like what, like a 6%, 6-7% downside or so. And in terms of upside, about 112 is our previous resistance. We broke it, but then we couldn't really break it again, and it kind of just dropped a little bit. So this one, definitely keep it on your radar. I like AMD, love the company. Now, keeping the subject going on semiconductor chips, I'm looking at Indi here, Indi Semiconductors. I'm a huge fan of this one. This one is one of my highest conviction plays. That's definitely a favorite for me. For the 200-day, I would say that's probably the max downside. I see this thing going higher soon and retesting the 1150s. This one just seems to have a lot of strength. That previously the resistance was about 1050 or so, and we broke that, came back down, started consolidating. I'm liking it where it's at. I see very little risk. I don't really think it's gonna like trade in the channel like it has been. I think it's gonna go back up and it's gonna create new highs at some point in the future. And I definitely like this one a lot. Keep it on your radar. I will be buying this one this week and continuing to buy, as if it drops, I will definitely be buying more heavily. Now getting into one I haven't really talked about in a while, getting into Bngo, Bngo, Bionano Genomics. I really like this one where it's at. I feel like the most downside you're going to see is about that $5 flat range. You can see back here, it did break it, but it very quickly came back. So, worst comes to worst, it might go a little under 5, come back up. But in terms of risk, there's, to me, very little risk in this one. I think it's going to try to retest this resistance here. I think it's going to continue to test here, and it looks like it might be a new resistance point because it was previously a support. It might, it might kind of play tricks and become our like short-term resistance. But if you do see it break this resistance here, which it might not even happen, but if you see it break this here, I could definitely see this coming up and continuing to trade in the channel that it likes to trade in here. And yeah, for me, that one definitely is a buy. I like Bngo. I've had this one for a while now. I remember buying it back when it was like $2-3, ran it up to like 7-8, took some profits. It kept running up to about 15 and sold off. So I definitely like it here in this $5 range. It's a very good buy in my opinion, and I will be picking some of this up as well. Now to get into one that I love talking about, Chargepoint. This one here, very limited downside, $20 is your downside, and I see this thing starting to come back up. I definitely think, in my opinion, that the worst is over and it will be coming up. You know, mind you, we're getting through September. We're like a little over halfway through September. Definitely like where it's going. As for the RSI, seems to be uptrending. We'll see if it kind of starts reaching a little, maybe we'll come up to like 23, maybe we'll come up to this previous like short-term resistance that we had up here in like the 23s. At that point, we might be close to overbought, and you might consider taking a little bit of profits, just scalping a little bit off the top and getting ready to buy in the lower. But that's how I see this thing doing in the near future, and I like it where it's at. Very limited downside. Same with this one. All these stocks, in my opinion, have very, very little downside, and I will be buying all 5 of them. And to get into the 5th one, we're going to be talking about Indi, and that is Sphere 3D Corp. They're going to be merging with Griffin Digital Mining here in the 4th quarter. Keep that in mind. I definitely like this one here where it's at. I could potentially see it going down to the 100-day EMA. So, you know, very limited. You're talking about like, you know, a 40-50 cent drop. So for me, this is definitely in a buy zone. I like it where it's at. I could see it potentially coming back to that 1050 or so, maybe hitting the resistance, dropping a little bit, and then testing it again. I really like this one here, and I will be buying this one as well. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this quick update. I will be buying all 5 of these stocks and keeping a very close eye on them. If they drop further, I might even consider a couple of options. And that's about all I got for you today. What kind of stocks are you guys watching? Anything that I should be taking note of? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks again guys, I appreciate you. Take it easy. Hope you guys do great this week.